Okay, let's now look at the group 2 verbs and changing them from their polite must form into the potential or can-do form. Let's look at this list of verbs. These ones are classified as group 2 verbs. Can you find what they all have in common? Well, first of all, I must stress that we're looking at the must form, the polite form, and not the dictionary form. If we were to look up these words in the dictionary, we actually need to change them into the ru form. And so these verbs are sometimes known as the ru verbs. If we look at the first one, tabemasu, it would be found under taberu. Akemasu would be found under akeru. Oboemasu would be found under oboeru, etc. So what do they have in common? Well, the last phoneme or sound before the mus is either an e sound or, in these two examples down the bottom here, an I found. And so the group 2 verbs are sometimes known as the eru or iru verbs. Now, how do we change them into their can-do form? This one is not a substitution or a subtraction. This is actually an addition to the word. If we look at the word tabemasu, to eat, to make it into I can eat, we actually add raremasu, rare, to it. So tabemasu changes to taberaremasu. Akemasu would change to akeraremasu. Misemasu would change to miseraremasu. And finally, the last one, which is a single syllable for the mas, the mimasu, changes to miraremasu. Now let's look at this being used in a sentence. A pretty common question, this one: can you eat natto? So, as we know from sentence formation, the subject goes at the start of the sentence and the verb goes at the end of the sentence. And since this is a question, we know that the final character at the end of the sentence is going to be a ka to denote the question mark. So let's start with the subject, natto. And can you eat, as we saw before, is taberaremasu. Ka, question mark. As I've said in the last video, with the doing verbs, up until now we've used the particle o. When we use them in the can-do form, we change the particle o into particle ga. Natto ga taberaremasu ka? Ie, taberaremasen. Okay, let's look at these questions. Can you work out these questions? Eiga ga miraremashita ka? Kono mado ga akeraremasen. Thanks for listening.